Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mac and Chuck Show. Your co-hosts, Chuck Hill and Scott McKenzie.
Good evening. We'll call that the Metal Christmas opening. How does that sound?
Metal Christmas. There you go.
Yeah.
Got some internet issues going on today. That's why you don't have a new opening. That's what's going on there. Yeah. You might want to sit up a little closer to your mic. I can hardly hear you.
Cheese and rice.
Hey, you know, the people want to hear what you got to say, man.
Not really.
Oh. So welcome, everybody, to the Mac and Chuck Show. Today is Sunday.
December 19th.
December 19th. It's less than a week to Christmas.
Yeah, I told you. Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. You blink your eyes, it's New Year's.
Oh, I know. No kidding. No kidding. So just want to give a quick shout out to C3GC, Celebration Community Church here in Granite City. They are sponsoring tonight's show. We're going to have Pastor Jesse on actually probably in about 10 minutes or so. He's going to talk a little bit about Christmas with us, about, you know, when was Jesus really born? Was he born in December? Was he born in March, April, July? Like, when was he actually born? John, thanks for the heads up. I've apparently got a pretty bad connection right now on my end. And quite honestly, it just happened about 10 minutes before the show started. So there's really not a whole lot I can do about it at this point.
Just say your max headroom and go with
it. So yeah, you know, but I will say great reference on the Sega CD reference. Nice little 80. Well, I guess that'd be a 90s reference, wouldn't it? Early 90s.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, tonight's show brought to you by Celebration Community Church, 2301 Orville Avenue here in Granite City. And you know, we're gonna have Jesse on here soon. But Celebration Community Church, you know, they're a church that kind of prides itself. It's the church I go to actually. They kind of pride themselves on a no nonsense approach to Christianity. They like to you know, make it real, and that's what you're going to find at this church. You know, it's real people, real life, real problems, and real Christianity. So if you get a chance, check them out. Facebook.com/C3GC or 2301 Orville Avenue here in Granite City on Sundays. Mac, you got a random thought this week?
What is the use of a man bun?
The use of a man bun.
That's my random thought.
So are you in favor of the man bun or not so much?
No.
I kind of take the viewpoint that if you're not a samurai, you probably shouldn't be walking around with a man bun.
That's when you get your top knot cut off. I didn't say top nut. I said top knot.
Well, I know a couple man buns, and they're okay guys, you know, but I don't understand the man bun. So why don't you expound on your random thought a little bit, and I'm going to check my internet connection here real quick.
Man buns look cool, dishonorable samurai. No thanks. They don't look cool. Maybe it's just because I don't have any hair. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's jealousy.
There you go. I don't think Miller's got much man bun hair either, to be honest with you.
I did back in the day, though, darn it.
Yeah, we used to have luscious hair, both of us.
Luscious.
Luscious hair.
Flowing locks, is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. That's flowing locks. Although I did rock a mullet at one point.
Well, you did have the emo part too down in your eyeball.
I did. You did. Those were the days.
To where I could.
So there's a picture out there floating around.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, there's a pic. What's that?
Read Lisa's comment.
Oh, Mallory's on the Xbox, Chuck. Oh, there we go. That's what's going on.
Dadgummit, Mallory. We're trying to
there you
make
go, folks. Mac and Chuck have been thwarted by a young woman. Thwarted. Well, I've been thwarted by a young lady. So that's probably what's going on.
She's stealing your Wi-Fi.
Stealing my Wi-Fi thunder. but that's okay. So we'll make it. Uh-oh. Now my camera wanted to get all crazy. I'm back now.
Crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck may be leaving us this evening.
Chuck may have to cut his end of the portion of the show short show. But anyway, so Christmas. What's your favorite Christmas memory, Mac?
Didn't we discuss this last week?
I think we talked about favorite Christmas TV shows and movies again, like we did last year.
Favorite Christmas memories was sitting at my grandparents all day. You know, as a kid, you hate doing that, but, you know, looking back, I'd give anything to be able to do that all day. Then go home, 5 or 6 o'clock so Dad can go to bed and get ready for work the next day.
Gotcha.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't really remember too many Christmases with my grandparents, my grandma anyway. I remember Christmases with my grandpa. Lisa says she's working out, updating Xbox turned off. All right. Well, maybe it'll clear up now again. So thank you, Lisa.
It has.
All right. Awesome. So, I don't remember very many Christmases with my grandma, but I do remember Christmases with my grandpa. And so every year my grandpa would get me underoos. Like that was the Christmas gift of the
Underoos.
Underoos, yeah.
Would you wear them now if they came in adult sizes?
They do come in adult sizes, actually. I don't own any, but they do come in adult sizes. So John says he makes the argument that the song Linus and Lucy is a Christmas song. The first time it appeared on a special was a Charlie Brown Christmas. Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
That's what I think of when I hear it.
Charlie Brown Christmas or the song?
When I hear it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, is that the Christmas time is here?
No, that's the piano riff.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but and I'm looking it up now to send it to you.
Oh, gotcha. So anyway, Christmas, Grandpa Underoos. That was pretty much something.
Christmas, Grandpa Underoos.
Not necessarily private Christmas of Grandpa Underoos, but Oh, that's wrong on so many levels.
Just a little, especially when you're talking about family members.
Right. So I will tell you one of my favorite Christmas memories though was, and this is kind of like, this is kind of a, not so much a sad moment, but a touching moment. Just kind of speaks to the character of my mom. Mm-hmm. I remember being, I'll say 9, maybe. It was either 8 or 9.
You can remember back that far?
I can. And here's the reason why. I remember getting this Mr. D doll for Christmas, right? And I don't think I'm wrong in this aspect, but so apparently that year, my dad had not sent any Christmas gifts or anything like that to my brother and I, or for my brother and I. So my mom went out and bought a couple of gifts and told us that they were from Dad, which was really touching because we talk about Christmas and family and things like that, and it just let me know that my mom was actually putting someone else before her so that her kids felt that they had received something from their dad. And for me, that was really, really cool and really, really great. Really just kind of an awesome thing for my mom to do. So that's kind of where I'm at with the the Christmas memory. That's probably one of my favorite Christmas memories. I want to turn my phone down here real quick. So get that turned down so we're not interrupted.
By dinging, that was me dinging you, you ding ding.
I know, that was you. I know. You could have shared that with everybody in the group. So folks,
I can't. How can I do that?
You put it in the comments like I do.
I had to look it up from my phone.
Oh. So anyway, if you guys are watching tonight, you're checking us out, go ahead and tell us what your favorite Christmas memory was there in the chat box. I believe for most of you it's off to the right. If you're on a phone, it might be down lower. Just put some comments in there. Let us know what your favorite Christmas memory was, and if you would like to be on the show and let us know what your favorite Christmas memory is, I'm going to post a link right here. And you can click on that link right there, and that link will actually bring you into the show. And so we'll bring you guys on, and we just love to know what Christmas, what it means to you. Let us know kind of your favorite Christmas memory, things along those lines. And we'll be taking those throughout the show. But Mac, we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas and when was Jesus born and things like that. And I mean, there are a lot of different viewpoints on that, and there are a lot of different just what people think. And it was Jesus really born in December? Was he born in spring? Just kind of how that works out. We're gonna
I've
get
got
your
something
thoughts.
for you, though.
What's up?
I got a question.
Sure.
As long as we celebrate, does it really matter when?
Well, that's a really great question, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit here soon. Right now, I'd like to bring on from Celebration Community Church, or C3GC, as we announced earlier, Pastor Jesse Tedder, he's actually downtown Granite City right now, I believe.
A little audio trouble here. I can't hear you. Hold on just a moment.
Yeah.
See if I can get this set.
All right. So, looks like we lost Jesse. He'll come back here. Here, we'll look at John's favorite Christmas memory. My most favorite Christmas gift was one year I received the Stretch Armstrong villain action figure. Forgot his name. My brother, Deuce Miller, nice shout out to Deuce, and his friend used it for knife throwing practice. Thanks,
Wow.
Ray.
So that lasted how long? Maybe a night?
Oh, awesome. All right, looks like we got Pastor Jesse back here. We're going to bring him on now.
Let's see how it does.
Okay, I hear you. But I can't hear you. I still got no audio.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, I got my mic on.
You got your mic on. Your audio is coming through pretty well. Can you hear us okay? All right. Well, maybe he may step to one other place and try that out again.
He's going to all four corners.
Yep, there he goes. All right, we're going to try this again here.
Survey says.
All right.
Okay.
He said, "Forget this."
Let's try outside here, guys. I still can't hear you, though. I don't know what is
You can't hear us?
going on with the audio here. So I'm gonna disconnect these Bluetooth headphones and just try to use the audio on my phone. So.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
There we go. I can hear you now. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Much better. Much better.
Okay, very good. Sorry, guys. I'm joining you from the cinema tonight because we're doing a special viewing of The Chosen here at the Granite City Cinema. So we just got started, but I wanted to join you guys for the show.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Awesome. So, Jesse, we had just a couple of questions that we were kind of hoping you could touch on with us. We talked a little bit earlier, about C3GC being just kind of a a no nonsense approach to Christianity, and so we were hoping maybe you could just give us a little bit, maybe a quick 30-second spiel about the church, and then just kind of let us know your thoughts on Jesus and the whole being born December 25th and in the winter versus spring, or your thoughts on that.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Pastor Jesse from Celebration Community Church. We're a non-denominational church here in Granite City. We're a church plant, and we started up with the goal of reaching people for Christ beyond the ideas of tradition, beyond the ideas of maybe what you've been told or what the church experience you've had. We want to reach out really with the real gospel, out and just do life as Christian people according to the scriptures. So that's really important to us. So we're kind of non-traditional. Not that we're not conservative in our beliefs, we definitely are, but we're, I would say that we're probably a lot more contemporary than most places around. If you come and check us out is what I'll say. I'll just say this, come and see, all right? If you're curious, come and see. We'd love to meet you, and I think you'd like what you experienced there. We definitely want to introduce people to Jesus. We don't want to introduce them to tradition. So that's what we're all about. Now, as far as Christmas goes, man, December 25th is a really strong tradition within Christianity and around the world. And I got to tell you, I'm just going to be honest and drop a little truth bomb here. We don't know when Jesus was born. It was probably closer to the spring, quite honestly. But December the 25th actually started. It has pagan roots. There's no lie about that. The pagan roots of the December 25th Christmas observance actually comes to us from the 4th century in Rome, about 336 AD, the 4th century. the bishops of Rome decided that they would kind of hijack the celebration of Sol Invictus, which was the rebirth of the sun god, essentially. See, as the seasons would wind down, we get less and less sunlight, obviously. So around the time of the summer solstice, the people would gather together in these pagan feasts, and they would light fires and such. And it was to try to give strength and life back to the sun god. And of course, the evidence of that was that it worked was after the solstice started getting longer. So they thought, hey, that had something to do with it. Now, the church in Rome, they decided that they wanted to kind of hijack that, and they would use that as a time to celebrate the sun, Jesus, rather than the undying sun god. So there is a pagan root to it. Now, and then you can throw in other elements here and there, St. Nicholas and then Santa Claus and all of that. But what I'll say is this, is although it's a strong tradition to celebrate Christmas on the 25th, it has no real biblical basis. As a pastor and as a church, we take advantage of that because it's a time of the year where we get to tell people about Jesus. So that's our goal. Whether it had pagan roots or not, now today people associate Christmas with either Santa Claus or the birth of Jesus, or oftentimes both. And so we want to take advantage of that and really share with people why we would celebrate the birth of Jesus and what that's all about.
So let me bring my computer. So Jesse, it's there are a lot of people that are out there that would say, and I'm glad you touched on this a little bit, but a lot of people would say, well, Christmas is really just about family and just about a time to be together and things like that. And with it having its roots based in paganistic holidays or paganistic times and everything, I guess one of the questions would be, did the Catholic Church just kind of like do this to indoctrinate pagans into the faith, or like were there other ulterior motives here, as opposed to just we're going to take an opportunity to worship the Son, Christ, as opposed to the sun god?
I think the goal was to take the viewpoint off of pagan worship, really, and to put it on Christ. There was this goal of hijacking those holidays. We see it with other things like Easter as well, and Easter also, that day in particular has its pagan origins. A lot of these things were co-opted by the church, I won't lie, by the Catholic Church. I think they had noble intentions, honestly. I mean, it doesn't sound noble to us nowadays, but they were really trying to point people to Jesus. I believe that, and they had a lot of pagan neighbors to contend with, and they wanted to get them the message that they believe was true. And so, not saying that might makes right, because it certainly doesn't, and Jesus doesn't want us to present the message at the tip of a sword or anything like that, or by force. But unfortunately, that's how it happens sometimes throughout history.
Right.
So yeah, I think that they were just trying to overshadow the pagan worship that was going on around them.
Nowadays, it'd be called cultural appropriation.
Yeah. It's not very PC, for sure.
Right. So, all right, awesome. So, there's a lot of people that believe, in so the paganistic rituals and that, and kind of go back to like the tree decorating and things like that. So, what would you say to someone who says that, well, if you put a tree up, you're practicing paganistic rites, and you're not exactly being true Christians, or does a true Christian actually put a Christmas tree up, or what would your thoughts be to a comment like that?
So what I'm going to say is this: is the Bible says that in the New Testament that whatever we don't do out of faith is sin. All right, so if you are following your convictions and you believe that you should not have a Christmas tree in your house because you believe it's a pagan practice, why then don't do it. I'm going to say this too: there are a lot of people who celebrate Christmas in the name of Jesus who have no idea the pagan roots about the Christmas tree. They've grown up with the tradition of putting up a tree. To them, it's a pretty decoration, and I'm going to tell you to go in peace. If that's what you want to do. I have a Christmas tree. Of course, we don't celebrate pagan idols or anything like that in my household.
Right.
I just think it's pretty. Traditionally, it's a symbol of coming together as a family. Now, for us, it has a different meaning in our culture and our time. So I think we have to be. I think you have to take things within their context, that being the Bible as well. If you're going to be a serious student of the Bible, you have to study it within the context it was written. Mm-hmm. You have to understand the type of language, the type of literature you're reading. Everybody thinks the Bible is just, one long rambling story, but there are different types of literature within the Bible. There's poetic literature, there's prophetic literature, there's didactic literature, and you have to take those things within context. And holidays and symbols are the same as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. Mac, you have anything that you'd like to add to that, or a question? And hold on one second, if you don't mind. If you guys watching right now have questions you'd like to ask Pastor Jesse, just feel free to post them there in the comments. We'd love to do that. We don't want to keep him out in the cold for too long.
Right.
But we do want to at least give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have concerning concerning his faith, my faith, or concerning Christmas. We would want to give you that opportunity to ask. Mac, go for it.
The legend of Father Christmas, is that derived from paganism as well, or is there some kind of correlation between the two?
So there's a little bit of correlation. The Father Christmas comes to us from some Christian and pagan origins. There's a mixture of paganism and Christianity. Of course, everybody knows the origin was Saint Nicholas, who was actually a Christian father. He was, in fact, I was just having a conversation with somebody. If Saint Nicholas knew actually what was being done in his name, I think he would be rolling over in his grave. But he was a strong Christian leader. He had great care for the poor, but he was mixed with some paganism, some pagan origins, and all out of that you get Father Christmas, you get Santa Claus, and all of that. There's a long history to go into with that. I would encourage people to just research who St. Nicholas actually was if they wanted to know what he had done. And he was a strong proponent for some of the conservative theological viewpoints we hold today, such as the same nature of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit within the Trinity of the Godhead. He was a proponent of that message at a time when that message was under attack.
Nice. Awesome.
I would also ask, with the gift giving, that I know that has basis in the birth as well. So it's really interesting to hear this and how everything combines together into these traditions, how everybody ties this stuff in. And I was raised Catholic, so I'm not familiar with the expounded theories and things that you're speaking of, but
sure.
It's really interesting to hear. As we get older, as a child being raised Catholic, you're really into a bubble of this is what we're telling you, this is what you're brought up in and believe. So it's really interesting to hear the greater scope of it as we get older.
There's a lot of history behind the modern celebration of Christmas and behind the modern Christmas mythologies that are out there. Mac, you're right about the gift-giving having its basis in the biblical story in a lot of ways. It also has a basis with St. Nicholas and his story as well. But particularly, we hear the story of the birth of Christ, and we hear about the shepherds and the three wise men and their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. Although those wise men probably wouldn't have come till a couple of years later to meet Christ when he was a toddler, the gifts they gave were particularly important. They were prophetic gifts. Gold. According to the song, there is the song, We Three Kings, gold in honor of a king. We see that Christ was born, according to the scripture, of the actually kingly line of David. He had to be. We see frankincense and myrrh because they were anointing spices for one who would die, actually. And frankincense is also picturesque in the scripture of prayers, and Christ was one who was worthy to receive worship. So those gifts are really, really prophetic. They really are. They're very meaningful. And so to anybody who would ask what I would tell you the true meaning of Christmas is, it's, at least within Christendom, we set it aside as a day to celebrate the birth of Christ. And we celebrate the birth of Christ because we believe, as the scripture tells us, we needed a savior. We needed someone to save us from our brokenness, our sinfulness. It was not something we could do on our own. The message of the Bible is that all of us humans are born with a sinful nature, and we have a separation from God. And there's nothing we can do in and of ourselves to rectify that situation. But God loved us anyway, and as a gift of his grace, which is his unmerited favor, Christ came to pay the price that we deserve. And we celebrate that this time of year because we believe it's the greatest gift that's ever been given.
So Shelby says, so it's kind of more like a gotcha day than a birthday.
It's that may be an accurate statement.
Well, I mean, we are adopted into the family of Christ, so that's probably an accurate statement, Shelby.
Mhm.
So, all right, awesome. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show and just kind of talking to us a little bit about that. What have you guys got coming up as far as celebrations at the church goes?
So we've got a Christmas Eve party going on Christmas Eve night. We're going to be there at 5 o'clock. We're having an ugly sweater party. So if you want to come and join us, you're more than welcome to. But after that, at 6:30 p.m., we're actually going to have a candlelight service, which is going to be a nice time of worship. It'll be a short service, short and sweet and to the point. So if you want to join us, you can come out and join us then. That'll be from 6:30 to about 7:15. So we're going to be about, 30 to 45 minutes that night. And then, of course, we're going to have service Sunday, December the 26th. If you want to come and join us for an alternative to the normal New Year's Eve festivities, we're going to have a New Year's Eve party December 31st. We're going to begin at 7 o'clock p.m. at the church. We'll be there till midnight. We're going to have games, karaoke, all kinds of fun. And then we're going to bring in the new year together with communion as a church. So I welcome you to join us if you'd like to. And if you want to stick around later that day, our motorcycle club is having a snowball run. So we're going to go for a ride in the freezing cold.
Awesome.
You're welcome to join us for any of those things.
So you guys did hear right. The church has its own motorcycle club. So
yeah, Iron Disciples. Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Hey, Jesse, thank you so much. Enjoy the movie tonight, and thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
thanks for having me, guys. And if I don't see you before then, well, I'll see some of you. But I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
God bless.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Cool stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anyone who I know that like has studied, not just the Bible, but also history during that time, everything, it's him. He's very knowledgeable on all that. And I just thought, well, both of us thought, that he'd be a great guest to come on the show and just kind of, talk a little bit about, the origins of Christmas and things along those lines. I do want to get to a couple of comments here. So hello, Emma. Emma says hello. That's my grandbaby for those of you who don't know, but
It's probably kissing the screen.
So let's take a look here. Lisa, we're going to get back to just what Christmas means. Lisa says all the family, cousins, aunts, uncles would all get together at grandma's house. Traditional Norwegian cookies, among other foods, or one of the foods, or I guess one of the other foods. As everyone got older and grandma couldn't host anymore, it's just not the same. Kids are older, work and other family things get in the way and miss those days.
I think that could be said for a lot of people our age,
I think,
maybe a little younger. You miss the traditions, you miss what you did growing up, you miss everything. And I'm not going to say it loses its luster, but it kind of diminishes it once those people, once you lose those people.
yeah. I was really shocked to hear today. I was talking to I won't say her name out loud. She can say if she wants to, whatever. But like this person's family, like both sides of the family used to get together like every Christmas. Like 1 week before, it would be like her grandpa's side of the family. Then the next day, it would be her grandma's side of the family. But they don't do that anymore. And that really surprised me and kind of made me feel sad for her also, because I do know that it used to be kind of a big time for all of them to get together. Shelby says that she misses how Christmas used to feel.
I think it transfers. If I can interject I think it transfers from us to our kids. So it is different. You may feel the magic that you once did, but watching your kids, it's a different magic, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it transitions also as you get older. Like both of my kids are grown now. So I mean, when there were Christmases that I was able to see them get up in the morning and open their presents, even when they were younger, they as they get older and have kids of their own, it's not really like there anymore. I don't have that in the mornings, Christmas morning anymore. It's definitely what's the word I'm looking for. Definitely unique. It's definitely much different. And then, now I get, the chance to at least, give gifts to my grandkids. And, I get to say grandkids now because I have two of them, which, makes it kids. But, I'm happy to see that, they're able to enjoy Christmas. Um, so it's just family is what used to be. She says she's got her kids to feel the magic like she used to feel. And then she says they do still bake cookies every year, and that'll always be tradition.
Yeah, I can see that. My
Yeah,
mom used to make cookies all the time and a stollen. Well, my sister makes the stollen now and the fudge and all that. So, it's still there, but like I said, it transitions, it changes. It's still
yeah,
the same recipes. It just because we'd always be off of school before my birthday, and my mom would make cookies and everything so I was always the taste tester.
Were you the spoon licker? Did you get to lick the spoon?
No, but I ate the finished product, which was better. It was much better.
I don't know, man. There's a lot to be said for raw cookie dough. Who cares what the
Yeah, but
CEDC says?
have you met my mom back in the day? Do you really think I get to eat raw cookie dough?
Highly
Honestly,
unlikely.
okay
Highly
then.
unlikely. So that's something my dad used to do also at Christmas. That was kind of his thing. He'd make cookies,
Mhm.
and so I remember there were a couple years there before he passed. That you'd get a tin of cookies or whatever, and I didn't really get to spend many Christmases with my dad before he passed away because I lived in a different state. Um, but I do remember that being a tradition with him
Mhm.
and the Christmas cookies. That was always kind of cool. He used to make these. He loved them. That man loved black licorice like it was going out of style. But man, I just couldn't do it. And he'd make cookies like that every once in a while. And if I'd get a hold of one, he'd be like,
You
not a
take
big
a bite,
fan.
be like, "Ugh, ugh."
Not a big fan. Not a big
Well,
fan. I think they called them
that's
AIDS
not my
cookies.
favorite. It's not my favorite, but I can stomach black licorice. I mean, for Christ's sake, I used to drink Jaeger.
See, that's it. I like Jaeger, but
It's the
I don't
same
like black.
taste, essentially.
I know. I know. I guess after a couple of shots of Jaeger, though, you don't really mind the taste.
You don't really mind it. No, it just
Stephen John says black licorice, gross.
you guys just don't
So
know what's good.
Nikki says, I had a lot of fun baking with my mom and siblings while listening to Christmas music. I'm going to
There's
bet
a
that
lot
was
to be said for
Alabama
that.
Christmas.
You in trouble.
Oh man. But yeah, so kind of getting back to
I did, Shelby.
the origins and traditions of Christmas. And that did you learn anything new that that Jesse had said? Like you said, growing up Catholic, your
Mhm.
view of Christmas, I guess, was different than the Protestant viewpoint of Christmas. Did he say anything that kind of like maybe
No, no,
schooled
because
you?
I knew it just from my own interest and research on it.
Mm-hmm.
But as a kid growing up, going to church, went to Catholic school for 4 years. You don't think that's why I said you're kind of in a box or a bubble. You don't you know you hear the stuff as a kid. You're told to listen to this. This is right. Blah blah blah, and you don't go outside that school of thought. So in thinking Christmas, all the pageantry that you see in the church, everything that you've grown up with, you don't think outside the box, so to speak, and you don't really seek it until you get older. So I never really thought twice about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, was midnight mass a requirement in your family
No,
at Christmas or on Christmas Eve?
no,
No.
no.
Yeah, I went with my aunt to
Every
midnight
Sunday,
mass.
yes.
Yeah, they were going to bed on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, everybody was knocked out.
Yeah, I remember going to a midnight mass with my aunt one time over at St. John's here in town.
Mhm.
We had gone over there, and that was kind of cool. And obviously, we'd always have Christmas Eve services. Growing up, being part of the Baptist faith
Mhm.
or whatever. What were you taught about Santa Claus? Like, was there any kind of like? Did you
No,
guys
no
have
kind
Santa
of.
Claus? Did you know?
Oh
Not,
yeah, oh
not
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, the way I grew up was just the way everybody grows up as a kid. Santa Claus.
yeah,
we had faint teachings on who Saint Nicholas was. In my mind, it was one and the same essentially. It's not until I got older and read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that I found out who Father Christmas was. because I had never
Yeah.
heard that name. But I grew up just Christmas cartoons on the TV, Christmas carols, tree decorations. To me, like I said, it wasn't a second thought.
Gotcha. So I want to answer Shelby's question from earlier about paganistic or paganism. Shelby, pagans are basically non-Christian, I guess, or and someone else, if you're more familiar with this term, please correct me, school me, whatever you'd like to do. But if you were a pagan, you were more along the lines of an earth worshiper or a spirit world worshiper. You did not worship God as Protestants know God, but they were basically they believed in other gods. They believed in like the Norse gods, Viking gods, things like that, Mother Nature, Father Time, and things like that. Um, so basically, if you were a non-Christian, you were considered paganistic, and it was a really huge thing back in more times, or more or less in the, I guess, even pre-Renaissance times. Mac, would you agree with that?
I think it was more prominent then, just
Yeah.
due to the the advent of Roman Greek gods. I think it kind of splintered on down where Christianity was taught. And do we even know it was 0 AD? Nobody really knows the time frame because of the calendars and everything. But
Right.
let's just use that as an example. Everything really, when it really came about after Constantine, and I think it was 300 AD or something like that. I'm probably way off, but
I'm curious, and I don't know the answer to this. Even before Christ, were non-Jews considered pagans? I mean, like, what was the term for non-Jewish people? I mean, I know you had the
Gentiles.
Gentiles.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably, I guess, be the equivalent to that.
And the way I was raised, there was never any disparity, anything outside of Gentile. If you weren't Jewish, you were Gentile. And there really
Yeah,
wasn't anything saying, okay, if you're not one of the two, you're this.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Shelby says, "I'm sorry, but people who keep their kids from experiencing the magic of Santa make me so sad. It's Santa and cute and fun. I've never understood why some people are against it." So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Santa has a lot to do with kids' magical feelings of it.
Now, there are
I'm not,
those. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I understand that there are those who don't want to do it, because of the strict religious belief, and all I can do is just speak my mind and my opinion, but
Right.
never tell someone they're bad for doing it. And I'm not saying Shelby's wrong either. What I'm just saying is, to each their own. Essentially, I taught
Yeah.
my kids the way I was brought up, and I hope my kids teach theirs the way they were brought up. So, to me, and this is just strictly me. I think
Sure.
there's a lot of magic into the season that you can really incorporate your beliefs with it. There's a lot of magic to be said from Santa, and like I said, you can incorporate your beliefs into that and mix them together to where, this is what as the kids get older, say, well, why did you do that? If this is the way, well, this is what I wanted you to have. I wanted you to have this, but still understand.
Yeah. So, what about those who would say that if you have Santa involved in the holidays, and I've heard this even from non-Christians before, which is why I bring this up, about lying to your kids and things like that, and perpetuating a lie, like what are your thoughts on that?
I don't call it perpetuating a lie. I call it letting a kid believe in the magic of the season. They'll find out soon enough.
Hmm.
You know, I still believe in the spirit of Santa. I mean, it to me, and I pray to God no kids are watching. Um, well, no, and I mean this. I believe the spirit of Santa is the season of giving. The feeling that you get around Christmas time. all the way from decorating to the fellowship, as you speak of, to the present giving, to seeing the, it's everything that's wrapped up in the feeling of the season. I think that's what Santa represents. So, so that's why I say I believe in the spirit of Santa.
So when you celebrate Christmas, do you look at Christmas more of a faith thing? Do you look at Christmas as more of a family thing, or do you
I look at it both, and I think there's room for both. I really do.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely. I think so. For me, Christmas is more rooted in the faith-based aspect of it, But I do think that it's a time for family, and a time for families to come together and celebrate their faith together, And I think that's important to understand that, and like the Christmas service that I'll be going to that on Friday, and I'm like, it's a time for me to join with a fellow group of believers, to celebrate our faith and to celebrate what we set aside as the day to celebrate Christ's birth, and the coming of Jesus. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people. So we talked about a little bit, and Jesse touched on this a little bit about if you're a pretty solid Christian, then you're pretty much under the understanding that Jesus was not born on December 25th, or that he was not born in the wintertime, and that it was more towards March or April that he was born in, and that also the wise men were not at the manger scene. I mean, we see a lot of nativity scenes, and I think that that's really just a representation of the whole advent of Christ coming. But like Jesse had mentioned, I mean, there's scripture in the Bible that actually talks about the wise men coming unto the house of the child. And first of all, they were in a manger, or in a cave, stable, whatever it was back then, when he was born. So, but I want to say it's in Mark, but I may be wrong. Where
You're
they talk
wrong.
about, yeah, I probably am, but where they talk about coming to the house of the child, and so I mean that first of all establishes that Mary and Joseph are in a home at this point, not like an old folks home, but like they're actually established somewhere, and that the Bible uses the term child, which takes away from the possibility that they were there, they followed Star Bethlehem and got there and it goes all the way into the story of Herod, when the three wise men met with Herod, and Herod, was, he wanted him to know where the child was, tell him where the child was, which is why he had, during that time, every child under the age of 2 killed, to make sure to kind of cover his bases, so to speak. So there's a lot to be said there in the Bible that shows us that, when the wise men were there, he was not a baby. So yeah, there's just a lot of interesting stuff in there surrounding Christmas, and just kind of understanding that time a little more.
I can see that. For me, it was always the symbolism.
Right.
I think they do the nativity scenes, and this again is my own opinion and understanding. I think they do the nativity scenes to show that wise men did show up, but they can't. I'm going to put it here, and you hold up a little card that says 3 years later, and you see these three guys walking in.
Several days later.
Right. 3 years later.
So yeah, no. Shelby says,
you have baby Jesus chucking the gold at Dad's head.
Right. So let's see. Nikki says, I know a few people who don't want to lie to their kids, but Scott is right. When you get to a certain age, you will find out at school. I don't know any kids that held a grudge for being lied to. That's a good point.
Especially if you explain it to them, if they come to you asking it. I think that's an important key to it.
Yeah. So here's kind of what I said to my son when he asked. So, and I remember this very clearly. They had come to visit me up in Seattle. We were at a campsite or at a campground, and Alan asked me, he's like, Dad, is Santa Claus real? And I just looked at him and said, well, what do you think, buddy? And he's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, there you are. I kind of let him just kind of make his own decision and go up, get there on his own. Now I caught hell for that, but I mean, that's.
Did you try to expand on that and ask him why? Or did you just leave it at that?
I think we talked a little bit about it. That I'm not really like, super um clear on. Like I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but the gist of it was that he asked, and I just asked him a question, let him kind of make that decision himself.
Mhm.
Um, you know, um, so, but yeah, I mean, so you're right. I think kids are going to find out. I don't think any kids have ever been like, emotionally scarred because they found out that the Jolly Fat Man wasn't who we all said he was,
Right.
whatever. But the pardon me, promise I don't have Rona. So yeah. Anyway, um, so John says here, right? John says here, some people have religious beliefs like that. Shelby, Jehovah's Witnesses for one. John, can you expand on that a little bit? I think I know where you're going with that. Um, but I'd like some clarification on that if you don't mind. And then Shelby says that she feels the same way about Halloween. She just that they should let kids be kids. Uh, You know, there are some religious sects out there that think celebrating Halloween is a terrible, terrible thing. Also,
Mhm.
I'm not one of them because I like the scary ghosty ghoulies and things like that.
You just like the candy. Yeah,
Candy.
you're not fooling anybody.
Um, Shelby says they weren't, and I think that goes into the question about the wise men. You
That's what
know,
I think.
being there. Yeah. Now, if you've seen that movie, the nativity scene, uh, or the nativity, I think is the name of the movie. Um, you know, I think the wise men show up, at the birth, but
Oh,
again, that's just
excuse
kind of
me.
it's kind of perpetuating just tradition. That's what
Mhm.
people are taught to believe, and that's what they're brought up to believe. John says Jehovah's Witnesses don't observe holidays like Christmas. To my knowledge, that's accurate. They do not. Like even to the point that they don't even celebrate birthdays. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean that's a really interesting religion in and of itself as well. I've known some Jehovah's Witnesses before, and I found um, some of their beliefs intriguing, as I'm sure that
Intriguing.
they found mine intriguing. So here's the thing: I'm never going to flat out tell someone the way you feel, the way you think is wrong, because your feelings and your thoughts are real. And the bottom line is, I am a Christian because I believe that what the Bible says is true. That's my faith. That's my thoughts. I will share those thoughts and feelings with people, but I'm not going to hate somebody or, make someone feel like less of a person or whatever. I mean, I will tell them what I think, and how I feel, and then I'll back it up with like my experiences and, historical facts and things like that. But the bottom line is, I'm going to respect someone, whatever their faith is. Um, so, yep. And that's all I've
Miller.
got to say about that.
Look at Miller's comment. Here, I got
My
it.
favorite nativity scene as a movie was no, that's a great Christmas movie right there.
Yeah.
Forget Die Hard, The Life of Brian. If you haven't seen The Life of Brian, folks, you really gotta check it out. It's a Monty Python movie. It's a little irreverent, but it's pretty funny. Pretty funny
It's
stuff.
British comedy in the 70s. What do you want?
So what do you plan this year for Christmas, Mac? Anything big plan?
Same stuff I do every year, Pinky.
Plan to take over the world.
I wake up, ask my kids if they know what day it is. Oh, no, they're usually pretty good about it. Go to my mom's, eat Pizza Hut, have a mint cake, drop the kids
cake?
off at a mint.
Mint. I don't know if I've
Mint's
ever
the
had
best.
mint cake.
That's mint icing, chocolate cake, mint icing, mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Now, is there any significance to that, or just kind of a family favorite?
Because I like mint.
Did you
Is
like
that all right
mint?
with you?
Hey, man, no judgment here.
You're getting kind of personal, Hill. But
That's what the Mac and Chuck show is all about, getting personal. Not up close.
Cooper, yeah, thanks. But after that, I dropped kids off at their moms for Christmas Eve night. Then I come back here, do what I got to do. The mom drops them off. They go to bed, wake up the next morning. Now, I used to cook when I was still married and the kids were younger. I used to cook breakfast. It's a tradition for me to cook breakfast every Christmas morning. But since they go to their moms earlier, we just all usually have brunch at Denny's or something like that.
Nice. I'm not sure what I'm
No,
doing.
John,
Christmas
Pizza Hut is open on Christmas Eve, which is my birthday. And then they close, I think, at like 3 or 4. So they got to get the pizza over there beforehand.
Gotcha. How do you feel about companies that have their employees work on Christmas Day? There was a time in our lifetime that didn't happen. Like everybody was closed on Christmas Day. Convenience stores were closed. Walmart's closed now, but like
No,
you weren't getting anything.
Walgreens was always open, if I remember correctly.
Were they?
I think. And I think there were convenience stores that were.
When I grew up in Southeast Missouri, when it was Christmas Day or Sunday, it was closed.
Well, okay, let's look at this. Okay, Southeast Missouri versus up here.
No, that's true. But I mean, but even now down there, things are still open.
Right.
You know. So, but what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, Walgreens, they serve a purpose. You know, people that need to, you know, personally, if I had a place of business, they would not be opened Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe even Easter, I don't know. And maybe even New Year's Day, because I wouldn't want a bunch of hungover people coming into work for me the next day. But I digress. Those two holidays would be one. And that's just for me thinking that those holidays are family-based. And you need to spend time with your family because there's going to be one day you're going to wish you did when you didn't. For convenience stores and like Walgreens, I don't consider that greed. I call that a possible convenience or possible necessity, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last minute stuff that, you know, you might have ripped paper and you have to run out and get some real quick. It's convenience things like that. Now, do I think they should be open all day? I don't think so. You know, maybe in the morning.
So maybe close early or open late?
Close early. You know, maybe
close
people early? 12, 1 o'clock, because by that time people have opened their stuff in the morning, gone to a relative's house. You know, people grab coffee or something like that on the way when they're driving across town or something like that.
So
that's just my thoughts on it.
Here's a question I'm interested to know your opinion on also is, so not everybody celebrates Christmas. Mm-hmm. Okay. You know, and Christmas was, you know, set as a federal holiday, from my understanding, as a religious holiday, a religious day of observance. You know, so that's why most places are closed on Christmas Day. Most businesses, you know, honor Christmas and things like that. Mm-hmm. But what about the people who don't celebrate Christmas? Like, should that just be considered a day off because there's no real, you know, there's no religious point behind being off that, like for atheists or something like that? Or
I don't get into all that. I don't. It's a holiday. It's a federal holiday. I don't care whether you celebrate it or not. That's your choice as an American.
Yeah.
But
America.
I think, you know, since it's a federal holiday, it should be as such.
Yeah, and I'm not saying strip it from its federal like status or whatever.
No, I see what you're saying. No, it's a good question. You know, it's just my opinion is it's a holiday. You know, take the day off, spend time with your family. To me, that's what it's about.
Yeah. So do you think there maybe? Do you think there should be other religious days though that are observed that should maybe, you know, maybe Hanukkah for one? Hanukkah's 8 days. You know, I mean, should a person of Jewish faith be allowed to have all 8 days of Hanukkah off if they wanted?
I think maybe the first day or the last day, whichever. I don't know which one's the most important in Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Maybe have that as a day that you can choose to be off and get paid for it in lieu of Christmas. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of schools of thought about that could happen.
Yeah. So John says yes, equal treatment for other religious holidays.
Yeah. You know, instead of taking Christmas off, I mean, you could take the day off since we won't be open, but you won't get paid for it, as opposed to taking the day off for Hanukkah and you can get paid for that in place of.
So you could kind of swap one day for the other.
I think because people do comp days all the time. I mean, what's the difference in that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's, we talked a little bit about paganism earlier. There's, people who celebrate the winter, summer, the spring equinox, and is it fall equinox? Is that what it's referred to?
Autumnal equinox, yes.
Autumnal equinox. All right. Well, I was close. I was told. I said fall equinox, whatever, and I said spring equinox. So anyway, so it's been a pretty good discussion tonight. Pretty interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got some other kind of cool things coming up, in the upcoming shows. If you guys have any ideas that you'd like us to cover, by all means, let us know. We're always happy to talk about your ideas. Anyone out there interested in sponsoring the show? $25 to get your name on the show. Plus, it'll get your a little bit of a appearance if you want. Also,
get your logo somewhere, right?
Yeah, we'll put the logo right over, maybe here.
His face.
Or
his face.
Right here where my nose is at. Right where my nose is at. We'll
Good.
Put your logo on the show.
Maybe we can get Target to sponsor a show and we'll put a Target on your nose.
It's going to cost them more than $25. Target can cover it for sure.
Right.
So, all right. So John says, where are the clips from the holiday show that you and Shelby
Those are on
ran?
the 62040 page, right?
Yeah, there's some clips on there. If you go to the 62040 page, you can check some of them out there. There were small snippets of it. I think because of rights, you can't post all of them. I mean, to be honest with you, even the intro that Mac and I have to the show right now, we'll end the show and 10 minutes later I'll get that we've been banned in like 8 different countries because of copyright infringement. But I've got to go and dispute it and let them know, hey, it's licensed. We've got rights to use the music, and then they'll unban it.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, John, that's why they're not on the show, or the full clips aren't there or whatever.
Now, I did see your singing. You got the whole swing choir thing.
Well, there were no jazz hands or anything like that, but I try to be as expressive with my hands as possible, since there was no dancing, which I really do. This old body's not dancing anywhere anymore. Maybe dancing in the bed. That's about it.
Ooh, the horizontal mambo. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'll never tell.
I'll never tell. Okay. All
right. Well, listen, folks, you guys have a great and wonderful Merry Christmas to you, and safe New Year. And if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, let us know. We're happy to talk about it. Or if you just like to watch Mac and I stare at each other stupidly, we can do that also. But yeah, just let us know what you want to hear. Thanks for everything you guys bring to the show. Happy holidays, John. And with that being said, I think we're out of here, folks.
right.